Good evening, I'm Yolanda Nava.
And I'm Hugh Hewitt.
Our top story tonight, the Clinton administration is diving into the most treacherous waters of California politics, Proposition 227 and the battle over bilingual education.
Speaking today through his press secretary, President Clinton said he opposes the June ballot initiative to ban bilingual education in public schools, even though polls show 2/3 of Californians support it.
Proposition 227 would replace current bilingual classes with English immersion instruction for 1 year. After that, students will be transferred to mainstream classes taught in English only. The president, however, says the initiative is too rigid to meet the varying needs of thousands of students who are still learning English. Instead, he supports a proposal by the U.S. Department of Education calling for 3 years of bilingual classes to bring non-English speaking students up to speed. Today, Press Secretary Mike McCurry told reporters in Washington, you cannot adopt in a state as large as California a one-size-fits-all policy.
In Sacramento today, Governor Pete Wilson was quick to respond. At a news conference, he said that California voters can do without advice from outsiders. As for the president, Wilson said he had a poor track record backing statewide initiatives.
The president has indicated that he will try to oppose and defeat 227. I think he may make it 0 for 3 in a reverse hat trick. He opposed 187, it passed. He opposed 209, it passed. I suspect that when he opposes 227, it will pass. But what I think is very clear is that it is the responsibility of the people of this state to make that decision, and I think they will make it very well without his help.
Does the president really think he can change public opinion from 3,000 miles away? Earlier this evening, I talked with his point person on the issue, Delia Pompa, director of the Office of Bilingual Education in the United States Department of Education. Director Pompa, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Today, Secretary of Education Riley announced the administration's opposition to California's Proposition 227 that will end bilingual education if it passes. Do you think that this will have any effect at all on the population of California when it goes to the voting booth?
Do I think the Secretary's statement will have an effect?
Yes.
I certainly hope it will. We are very concerned about the initiative, Proposition 227. We feel that if it passes, it's going to cause great harm to California's 1.3 million limited English proficient children.
Do you expect that the Secretary and yourself will be out here to campaign against the proposition?
I'm not certain that I would use the term campaign. The Secretary will be there at some time. The President will be there at some time. I'm not certain about my own schedule yet.
How about President Clinton? Do you expect he'll actually come out and stomp around the state trying to stop this from passing?
Well, stomping around the state is a very different notion than visiting California. I know he's scheduled to visit California, and I'm sure that he will be asked many questions about the UNS initiative, and I know he'll have some responses for reporters when he's out there.
When the president comes out and talks about Prop 227, what will you advise him to say in terms of an alternative to it?
Well, he actually has his own very clear views about the UNS initiative, and he is concerned about the initiative, and we've talked internally in the White House and within the department about what our own views are as to what should be going on. We think that children who are limited English proficient should, first of all, have access to a good curriculum that's linked to high standards.
But I guess the point I'm trying to get at is what exactly is wrong with the initiative?
Well, there are several things wrong with it, but let me give you 3 very important things that are wrong with it. One is that there is no research that indicates that children can learn English and learn to learn in English in 1 year. Second, it takes away control, local control, from school districts and parents. There are many, many different ways to teach limited English proficient children.
Let me stop you right there, Director Pompa. You're right about that. It would make a statewide rule, but since local controls of an issue to you, why is the federal government telling the state of California what to do when you're concerned, quote, about local control, close quote?
We are certainly not telling the state of California what to do. We are quite concerned about what the impact would be on these children. There are federal civil rights requirements that limited English proficient children be served and be provided a comprehensible education. So to that extent, we have quite an interest in how limited English proficient children are educated.
If Proposition 227 passes, is that a violation of federal civil rights law? Is that what you're saying?
It's not a violation on its face. We do have concerns that on the first day of implementation, it is likely that there will be several violations of the civil rights laws.
Can you expand on that for me? What kind of violations? Because it's ahead 70 to 30. Most people expect it will pass. What kind of violations are you talking about?
Well, first of all, under our three-part test in looking at the civil rights of limited English proficient children, a district can implement any kind of program it wants for these children as long as the program is based on sound research, as long as the program is well resourced and well implemented, and as long as the program has a good evaluation.
So let me understand, though, Director Pompa, does that mean the Department of Justice, you expect, will be prosecuting school districts that attempt to implement the UNS initiative if it passes?
Well, that takes us several steps beyond where we would be. The way our civil rights laws work is on the first day of implementation, if parents and communities feel that their district is in violation for an individual child or a group of children, they would file a complaint. We would follow up on those complaints and investigate whether in fact there is a violation, and then we would proceed from there before the Department of Justice were to be involved.
But you're saying that it is possible that the UNS initiative could end up in the courts, brought there by the federal government, and attempt to enjoin it as a violation of federal civil rights law?
We do think it's very possible.
Has that been discussed with the President?
Yes, it has.
And he agrees with that analysis?
Well, he has given us the go-ahead on this announcement, and he is behind our announcement, so I do think he agrees with it.
And does he in these discussions countenance the idea of using federal law enforcement to overturn the will of the California electorate if it goes that way?